Oh, there we. Is that better? Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now?
Can we hear everybody now? Yes, there we go. And welcome to the stream. Uh, can we have a drum roll, please? Can we have a drum roll? We have got. I'll be pleased to announce we have a new PC. It's here. I am driving tonight, so
We officially have roast potato.
we definitely have roast potato. And there we go.
Because obviously the best form of potato is roast potato.
He's
No,
now
this
coming up.
compared to the previous. So the previous machine that Jamie had a decent GPU. It had a decent, just about everything except the gigahertz on the CPU was like 2, which is just not good enough. So this machine is about 3.5, and is quite considerably better generally. So should be in a good place.
I will get you up the specs now, so I can now tell everyone the specs, because I'm sure everybody will be asking.
You'll notice that Teams is working nicely now. You've got extra spare CPU gigahertz.
Yes, as well. Yeah, it is.
That explains why that didn't.
Yeah. So we have basically got a Lenovo Vantage Legion T5, which is a 28IM VO5. I've got an SSD HDD. I've got a GeForce RTX 2070 Super. I've got a i7 10700 CPU. That's pretty much it, really. I think that's it.
So it's a decent machine.
So yeah.
That's a lot of mumbo jumbo, indeed, Wolfgang. The summary of that, the TLDR, is better machine, not a potato.
There we go. Let me get the injectors on so we sort of cells blowing off. Put our lamp on. So we are on the Swindon to Strood route. Can't remember. I think it's made by Philip.
Do you want to show a map? Swindon area is really impressive.
There you go. That's how mad Swindon is.
It's just incredible.
That's how mad it is. And he goes further. Look at that. That's how mad it is. And if this is the full map, there you go. Yeah.
Really good route, this. We like a bit of Great Western Steam, and all good train enthusiasts do.
Yeah.
This is definitely a good place. I think Highworth Branch is also modeled on here as well, which is good fun. It's a bit of a roller coaster, that one.
Yeah.
Valkyrie says game sound is a bit loud.
Bit loud. Options. I don't know if I can change it in this, can I?
No, you'll need to change it in OBS. Or in the volume mixer on Windows and just turn Train Simulator down. If you right click on the if you know what I'm looking for. Right click on the microphone thingy on the bottom. The sound's well balked. Thank you, Being Kid, for that precise technical description. If you could just unbalk the sound, Jamie.
I'll unbalk the sound. There we go. That should be a bit.
Press
I'll turn
the
you up a
unbalk
bit.
sound button. Turn me up a bit. This is always the solution to audio problems, is to turn Matt up.
Right. See if that is any. See if that is any better.
Might need to resume the game if you haven't already, because I can't hear the game, and I'm watching the stream on Twitch, so I'm a good 10 seconds behind what Jamie's actually doing. So.
Everybody's now requesting for mute Matt.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, no, Moggy is, but.
Oh well, that's gone well.
Hashtag mute Moggy.
That's gone well. That's gone.
Very first stream with a new PC derailed by Western Steam Train.
Oops.
Dear.
That's because I forgot that I'm supposed to set the points before I move off.
Always check your points.
Yeah.
Always check your points.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone above asked, is there a priority? What's the priority between TSW2 and Train Simulator 21? The answer is there isn't a priority between them. It's two separate teams. And they don't interfere with each other. Yeah, they're just they're working on their content. Matt, why can't we travel to London Victoria on East Coastway? Because that's not a small extension. That's not like saying, can we get to the other end of Lovers Walk Depot? That's, can we drive 50 miles away on a 40-mile route? So yes, it just wasn't modelled that far. Yes, and that's the Brighton Main Line, not the East Coastway. Good point. Enter the Dragon.
Bear with a minute. No, I'll have to restart it again because the map is not appearing now. It's going well.
You're doing well. You're doing well.
It's going well.
These are all the new PC, getting it back working again.
Yeah.
Matt, why aren't there more Gronks on the East Coastway? That's what Scenario Designer is there for, Moggy, specifically to allow you to to do Gronky things.
Hopefully now the map will behave, he says. Doesn't look like it's going to. I did have it up earlier.
Press 9. Well, that's not going to work very well.
No!
I've never heard of that not working before.
That's a new one.
Press 1. And then 9.
Nope.
Oh, well, you might need to restart the game then.
Yeah. Right, let me put the Oh, let me put that on. Give us a minute.
Yana Dunk, I saw a couple of questions about the BR363 journey services. They might be logged in the system somewhere, but they're not something that I've seen. Can you outline for me, just for a quick outline, or just point me at where what the issue is there? Because I thought I'd run them all. You know, when I wrote them.
Right, there we go.
Is Matt's camera frozen? Well, it's not frozen for me on my side.
No, so
Whether Jamie's broke my camera.
I don't think I have. Oh, it shouldn't have done. Everything's going... There we go, right.
It's all going fine. Everything is fine. This is normal.
Yeah. Right. Let's try this again. Right. Is there... Right. Right.
I have frozen. Oh no, I haven't frozen. I'm just not moving very much. I'll try and move a bit more so that I don't look like I'm frozen.
That's why. It's because I have to keep the... it's just being meh. It's probably
Wolfgang, you finished the journeys. Okay.
There we go.
So clearly you haven't had any difficulties with it then, Wolfgang. I has on. Yes, yeah. I has on hers. Services SH7 onwards don't work when loading in journey mode. Alright, let me make a note of that and I will go and have a wee look later on and see if I can find out what craziness might be going on there.
Right. Now we can hope the map does work. Does it work? Yes! There we go.
Go.
Now it's going to work. You see that? No, you see what I did wrong was I didn't change this one and I didn't change that one. Now I've got my road. You see? So now it's going to work.
What are we operating today? We are on a workshop route called Swindon to
Strood, I think it is.
Swindon to Strood. I don't think it's the Strood you're thinking of, because everyone's excited about Strood at the moment. This is a model of we're on the Great Western Main Line here, west of Oxford. fair bit west of Oxford, has to be said. And we're driving some Great Western proper steam engines. And I'm saying this mostly people are hobbies. So we're doing a scenario on there. Where did the scenario from? Is that another workshop scenario?
Yes, this is a not silent one, I think.
Stroud, Valkyrie. Stroud, not Stroud. Stroud. Stroud makes more sense. Yes, so we're doing a workshop scenario. Swindon Stroud would be a long route. Yes, it would be.
Keeping the cylinder cocks open because you would as you come off shed.
Yeah, you got to give the cylinders plenty of time to drain out. What's the plan for tonight? So we're doing Swindon Stroud, breakfast, loveliness, followed by what was the other one we're doing?
The turbines.
The turbines.
Turbines on it's the Union Pacific route, isn't it? I can't remember what it's called.
To begin with a sh.
No, it begins with a W or something.
Wasatch.
Wasatch. That's the one.
James Humble, can we change spot at level crossings on southeastern high speed? Well, you saw me doing it in one of the streams, or in the streams. That's exactly what I was doing. Just basically had the camera. I had my. I was working first person, and I was standing. What's actually rain? Wasaki. Is it Wasaki? Wasachi? Wasatch is one. What's your plans for TS 2022? There's nothing announced or anything like that at the moment, Paradise, so we'll find that out in the usual places. Baked Bean Kid, is there any chance you can use these workshop Wednesdays to showcase new releases in TS? Don't mean full route run, just a mention of what's out. It might be an idea to have a bit of a news on TS.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think so.
Let's try and put together a bit of a TS news on our Wednesday streams. It's a good idea, Baked Bean Kid. If you can take that, run that by Mr. Mike, Jamie.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, if Mike, I don't know if Mike is watching the stream. If Mike is watching, forward to go, wrong way along the Cheltenham main line to cross over and stop beyond the ground signal. Then wait for message before proceeding.
You could pretend to be newscasts. I know, we could have so much fun with it. Corfe Castle.
Yeah.
That does look nice. I really like the steam locos from the Riviera in the 50s route. They were just all, they looked good, they sound good. I think, if I remember rightly, Steam Sound Supreme actually helped us with sound on some of them.
Oh, awesome.
I think, and there was, it was a really good team effort actually from a lot of people that helped bring Riviera in the 50s together.
Yeah. Well, for those, I mean, this will be a Moggy approved scenario purely because
Nice.
And there's Greyhound, there's loads of hydraulics in here, tons of them. Another one over here, and then we've got Hall, Panya. Another Western. I think this is this is actually Great Western. There you go. Look. Better look where I'm going, better not.
Well, you know.
Normally helps.
It's just such a sea of track. It's glorious.
Yeah. Reverse being prepared to stop before crossing over both main lines. 5150. So we've got to come across here and then reverse back. And then there will be a signal, there's a shunt signal further along here that we just have to make sure there's a pannier moving forward. Got the roads.
Is there a game which you prefer over the other, TSW versus TS? I play them both. I spend more time in TSW personally, for what should hopefully be relatively obvious reasons. But there's things that you can get, plus the variety of trains that you got in TS because it's been around for so much longer, and the variety of routes and so forth. So I don't know. I mean, if anyone, generally when anyone asks me which one I prefer, I say both. And not just for the usual reason.
So we got a shunt signal, so we can now move off.
Well, apparently I'm a bit quiet now. Let me move my microphone here, see whether that just makes me a bit louder.
I have tried to move with the settings a little bit. I know I need to press the tab button before I...
That made no difference at all. Turn off the light, and I'm still too bright. How does that work? We really enjoyed Railfest. Nice, Nick. Yeah, we enjoyed doing it. It was great fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. How did I miss by 40 points? 40!
Got it.
You're all going for me as well.
Thank you, Antidote. That's a good extra bit of note information.
I must admit, I love the weathering on this, because you've got like how you've got on the tender where the old Great Western is still actually on the tender.
Oh yes, yes. How come no green screen? Because I'm actually on a Teams call with Jamie rather than it being through my XSplit, which means that it hasn't got. I've got the green screen down, but as you can see, even if I did green screen it, it's not actually set up like an XSplit. I have it cropped so that it has a good central image, and therefore it only has the green screen in the background. Whereas at the moment, as you can see, it's kind of all over the shop, really. On my dirty desk over there, and Teams virtual background. I hate that. I really do. I really hate that. I will just get better at these, and because now Jamie's streaming more again. Then what I'll do is I'll aim to have XSplit running in the background, doing the green screen properly.
This is where we're going to pick them up. I must admit, it's really, the scenario is really well populated. Like there's a lot of people about and a lot of AI traffic. It's really
There's
really
a lot
good.
of life, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who won the Bakerloo challenge? Sam by a whisker.
Yeah.
Jamie almost got him.
Yeah. It was literally down to the wire, wasn't it? It was
Down to the wire, and I was disqualified because, dang it, the engineering team are just too efficient, and they had some really cool features that were in the dev build I was using, which basically gave me an advantage. So I disqualified myself because that wasn't fair.
Get me nice and steady.
Why do turntables disappear and why are most of them unusable? I wasn't aware of either of those things. I've used turntables quite a lot in this game music. Is there a particular turntables you're having problems with? How many points have I got on the Bakerloo? I have no idea what my score is at the moment on any of the routes.
Right, let's now set our head code. So put it into forward. So obviously we're in light engine at the moment, and we are running a local passenger. So I don't really need to be the Torpay Express or the Mayflower or anything like that. So that's Express. There we go. So we've now set our head code.
That's it. Top middle. Class A.
Class A, yeah.
sometimes I do remember them. I'm all right with the passenger ones and light engines. It's all the variations of part vacuum, no vacuum, all vacuum, or part fitted, and the whether they've got visual parcels or something, or all those different combinations. And then of course you throw the southern region in, there's just chaos.
Yeah, southern region is just a disc for every single destination you could possibly think of.
Whenever I get on a train, they have to put all the lights on the front, obviously. The clouds in TS are so much better than TSW2. It's a tricky one, Dean. So, they say that a clock which never moves is the most accurate clock that exists twice a day, which is a true statement. And the comparison between TSW clouds and TS clouds is actually somewhat similar to that, because TS clouds are a photograph, whereas TSW ones are dynamically generated. So TS clouds will only ever look like that. If you want to change the clouds, it has to fade between one photograph and a different photograph. Which isn't ideal. Whereas in TSW, the clouds can actually morph and fade. Now, could the clouds in TSW be better? Clearly, yes. But dynamic clouds are the way forward, not photograph clouds. And it's just a matter of getting the dynamic clouds looking better. I mean, they were already a lot better than they were in TSW1. TSW2, the team did some really great work to improve them, but there's clearly more work to be done. So, but dynamic is the future.
That Gronk is having fun, I must admit.
Oh, look at that. Particles is something that TSW, that UE4 does really well with games, so, but they can be really, really costly, so you've got to be really careful.
I love all the like mid-cylinder sort of the cylinders. Look at that, look in the side of the valve gear. Look at that.
Yeah. Really, really nice animations.
How bare is this, guys? Can show you frame rate if you want to as well for anyone who wants to ask. So there you go, 40. Sometimes I was getting up to 60.
Not bad, considering you're streaming on the same machine as well. You've got a lot of work going on here.
Yeah.
And this is really nice. This is really nice compared to what the potato was doing. It's really nice. It's being clever, because the problem with particles, as you can see them here, is that they're semi-transparent, and that means that to render that you use technique called overdraw, and overdraw, strikes fear into the heart of anyone that does games, because it's the heart. Alpha transparencies are the heart of frame rate issues, and the minute you have multiple of alpha layers on top of each other, as you would have for particles of fog, things get even worse, and they get exponentially worse, not linearly worse. It gets much worse very quickly. So that's kind of the challenge, really, with particle effects, is trying to find the right balance of, because you want enough particle effects for it to look good, and you want them to have the right soft edges and so forth. So it's quite tricky.
Oh, and I will make a point that all my settings are maxed out as well.
Are you what SSA are you running?
Oh, I'm not SSA, sorry. I'm on the other one, I think.
MSAA.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's fine. Your machine probably could cope with a little bit of SSAA, maybe 2x2. But if you're happy with how it looks, that's fine. Train line repair vehicles are cool, aren't they, Kel? I like the idea of all sorts of fun stuff with with all sorts of network rail and track maintenance and maintenance of way trains and all that sort of thing, I think are they're all really interesting. But I kind of want to make sure that when they go in, they have a purpose. So if you're repairing the track should look wrong when you start repairing it and right when you finish repairing it, or if you're cleaning the track should change in some way. So I kind of feel like it should be more purpose to it, so that you feel more like you're more engaged in what you're doing. Or if you're doing track analysis, or you're doing a run where it records, then there's some way that you can. How do we give you a purpose for those runs rather than just? It still just feels like you're running a 101. It's just a yellow one. Past 31, it's a yellow one. But yeah, there are some really epic. The track trains are just they look like they're these dragons that are on fire going down the track.
I've got her just galloping now.
Shabot, how do you know when you need water or when you need coal into the train? So water is, you don't want to let it get too low, and you don't want to get it too high, and just bounce it between the two. So it's relatively straightforward. So on the stream, or what I can see on my stream at the minute, he's at around 76%. So that's fine. That's a good number. If it starts getting, as it goes down to say 50%, you put some more in. One of the things with coaling and firing is they say to do a little often, rather than do lots every now and again, because everything balances out. If you put cold water into a hot boiler, then it has an impact on the boiler. So whereas if you put bits in every now and again, so just put the water in just to keep it around a certain level, and then coal. You need to learn how to figure out what they call the ideal fire mass of a steam train. Now that's a fallacy created within simulation, because it's not really how real trains work. You don't have that kind of thing. They are fired in a particular way, and this is just a way of recreating the act of learning to fire a train, just in a way that you can do in the game. So you need to work out what the ideal fire mass is, and then you just try and find that fire mass will be like it's at 68%, I think, at the minute on the stream, and that's just a matter of finding. Okay, the ideal fire mass for this train is at 65%. Okay, always try and keep it around 65. Go between 60 and 70%. Just between those two areas, and then you can find the right thing. Again, little and often, and that basically controls how much steam is generated. If you don't have the ideal fire mass at the right level, then you'll find that the steam runs away. You haven't got any steam. The other thing to do, which I noticed Jamie hasn't done, is you need to make sure you don't leave brakes in release. You need the brakes in a running state, so that you don't waste the steam trying to release the brakes all the time, which again can help with your steam usage.
Yeah.
How do you keep your speed high? Keep your boiler pressure high. Manage your throttle and your cut-off. Cut-off is the reverser, the thing that controls forwards and backwards. But on a steam train, cut-off controls when steam is injected in the cycle. So the cycle of the cylinder moving backwards and forwards on the front. If you can show one cylinder at the front, you get a chance.
Yeah, so this is your reverser, so this is your cut-off. So as you can see, it's changing. So you just come down. So you start off higher and then start coming down and down and down, basically. And then
so what that's controlling is the steam chest at the front, and you've got the pistons on the front, and as they go backwards and forwards, they triggers the steam to come out of the boiler and go into the steam chest, which is then what pushes on the cylinders to make the train move. And if you were to just always put steam in at each extent, at each maximum end, what actually happens, which is what happens when you put the reverser full forwards or full backwards, then it gets to a point where A, you're wasting tons of steam, B, actually the effort required to expel the steam to get the cylinder back in the other direction again actually starts slowing you down. I mean, it sort of sets you a top speed almost you can get to.
Yeah.
So what you do there is you say, well, in that case, only put the steam in less and less and less and less of a part of the cycle, which is what happens when you pull the cutoff back to zero. Then you put less steam in for less time, which means it's got less to get rid of, and then can use that steam you put in to punch the cylinders back again for the next cycle. And that is then the route to getting yourself faster. So just as you accelerate, bring that cutoff back. Don't
Yeah.
go below 15%. But you'll find it as you bring it back. You'll probably find if you just keep it on full forward and keep accelerating, what you'll probably find is that at a certain point, you're running out of oil pressure, but also it's just not accelerating. And if you just gently knock the cutoff back, you'll find suddenly it gets a second wind, it gets accelerated again. And then as you get practice with it, you can keep it going as you go. Keep it going as you go. Sometimes I talk a lot of rubbish.
That's alright.
Thomas de Grue, is this Swindon to Stroud? It is indeed, yes. This is the Steam Workshop route. Cargan got beer, and now this stream has turned into Steam Engines 101. Now we're talking. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love Steam Engines. They look
Yes.
great, they sound even better, and they're really interesting to talk about, to understand how they work.
There we go, look at this.
So this is Paradise. This is a really impressive route. You can get this as long as you've got all the required dependencies. You can get this from Steam Workshop. It's a free download. Can we customize the water and fire button on the Raildriver? I don't think that the Macroworks software that you get with Raildriver for Train Simulator supports any remapping. Well, I've not used it in ages, so I don't know.
So,
Dean, there's no announcements about what is or isn't part of TS 2022, or even whether it is or anything at the moment. So wait until people start talking about what's happening when they do, and then that'll be the time to pose those questions.
go. Once you get the hang of driving Steam, it's brilliant.
It is. Oh, it is great fun. It's quite rewarding as well. It's like learning PZB.
It is. Make sure you don't fire in the tunnel, if not you get a fatal blowback.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Blue Games, a detailed Steam Train tutorial. So I've done, I did one a while ago on my own YouTube channel, but we should probably try and arrange one on the official channel. In fact, funnily enough, one of the first streams I did when I originally started streaming, about 5-6 years ago now, was a steam train driving tutorial.
Yeah.
And I'd got myself into, I know what I'm doing. I'd forgotten how to drive steam engines. And blew it up. So,
Someone's just asked me how much RAM I've got. I've got 16.
16 is more than enough for most purposes. Certainly more than enough for train sim. What diesel loco looks the nicest when pulling coaches, in both your opinions? Jamie?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I would probably say something like a Class 40, like in BR Green, or maybe like something like a Class 17, a Clayton, like Class 17, something like that. Very
nice.
unusual, yeah.
Very nice.
What about you?
I don't know. You see, I like a bit of Deltic action.
You like Deltics?
I like Deltics, but I'm also partial to the Hymec, and the reason I'm partial to the Hymec is it was the first model train I owned. So I spent a lot of time. With my O gauge plastic big train set Hymec.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I know the one.
With the bright orange track and two incorrect blue Mark 1s. It was no Mark 2s even. Yeah, I do quite like the Hymec. It has a fond place in my heart. But no, I like the Deltics are just beasts.
Yeah. Depart at 7:03. 08:07 30 seconds for Strood. On arrival to allow passengers, don't go beyond the water hose, stay closer to the near end of platform. Also, by the way, on the stream I did show, I think you I did show how big Swindon was as well, for anyone who didn't see that.
Nice. Actually, Beankid posted an interesting question earlier on for those that wish to continue the Steam Trains 101.
Yeah.
How do you put water into a high pressure boiler? Let me find the exact question. Putting water into a pressurized boiler, how? And that's using a thing called an injector. So if you look up steam injectors, then there's lots of diagrams of them. So I'm not going to try and explain the process of it. But essentially, what some gentleman called Henry Gifford invented in 1858 was this steam injector for steam locomotives. And the idea is that you take steam coming from the boiler into part of this injector system, and then you put the water into the steam flow, and that allows you to then put the steam back into the boiler, and it's carrying the water with it, essentially. So it's quite a clever system, and you can either use what's called live steam, which is coming from the boiler, or you can use exhaust steam, which is the bit that's about to go chuff out the chimney. So you've got the two options that you can use. Obviously, live steam is always there, so if you haven't got the regulator open, you've got no exhaust steam. But exhaust steam doesn't take. If the whole point of it is you want to build up your boiler pressure, then using that precious boiler pressure to get more water in can work against you. So quite often you want to use exhaust if you can, but you've always got the live heat you can use when you're stationary in a platform or something like that.
There's always just about getting. It's also with steam. It's just it's a balancing act. You know, it has to work.
Yeah.
You know, they have to work. The cold and the water have to work hand in hand, don't they? You know. And also, yes, sorry.
I reckon I look like Matt Lucas. No one has ever said that at all, BT. You're the first person to say that. I take that as a huge compliment, by the way. Matt Lucas is awesome. He is Matt Lucas, thanks to the trigger. Don't like it. Oh, we want some whistle action, Dreyfus Hudson says.
I don't know if this. I don't think this has got two-tone on it, has it? No. Hasn't, unfortunately. And also, this has got 4 cylinders, so quite interesting because you can see the 2 on the here, so you can see the ends of the 2 cylinders here, and then you've got the 2 either side.
Same as it's practice, to be honest, with the steam trains, and you have to pay a lot more attention to them than diesel. You can sort of set it, forget it, have a nice nap.
Yeah.
Whereas steam engines is quite the opposite. You really need to be constantly tuning your throttle and your regulator to the surrounding terrain, so that you, even if all you want to do is maintain speed, if you suddenly start going up a hill, then you're going to need to adjust the controls just to maintain your speed, or to some extent you might also want to be thinking to yourself, right, I know that in about 10 miles I've got a steep bank coming up, so I'm not going to stretch the loco right now. I'm going to make sure I've got all of my fuel, my coal and water topped up, to ideal levels, and then I'm going to be backed off and easing off on the cut-off so that we build up as much oil. So you can tune and prep the loco. It feels like you and the steam loco are working together to get the train where it's going.
Yeah.
It is really good fun.
So
you're feeling chuffed, cheeky chuffed.
Oh
good.
Dear.
Very good. Very good. Would you cover the whole rail network with Gronks or Pacer? No, because then I couldn't drive the Gronks or Pacer across that whole rail network. So, it'd be one Pacer and it'd be mine, and a Gronk in case it stopped.
Oh, thanks, John. Thank you, John.
Yes, much appreciated, John.
I noticed, is that I don't know if that's supposed to be. Is that supposed to be a standard 4 number at the end of your name? safe? Yeah, we're alright.
ET says it's getting a bit steamy for him.
Oh. Josh, this is Swindon to Stroud.
Stroud.
Stroud, even. Stroud. I keep getting that wrong.
Stroud is a long way from here. Ironically, literally, it's not a long way from here, but it's a long way from where that train is.
Yeah. Now we come back downhill.
Wolfgang, that's good feedback, something you should pass on to Sam on the forums. That flickering is really good, isn't it?
Oh, I love that. It's brilliant. Look at that. Shut off the regulator.
Are there any workshop German routes with Steam? There's not that many workshop German routes, to be honest, Alexandra. There's a few, I think, but I don't recall much. There's certainly some scenarios using of some of the German steam locos like the BR86, the BR01, and the likes of the BR52. So you'll find that there's definitely a good selection of scenarios using those. There is the Wurtachtalbahn, which is a commercial add-on, and there's the which actually Danny's just mentioned. But there are, and again, there are scenarios for that. But there's also scenarios putting the steam engines on other mainline routes, and there's some really interesting stuff there. Again, you know, some of my favourite creators like Not Silent have done that kind of thing as well, which is really cool.
Actually, the Wurtachtalbahn I've actually been on in real life. That's one railway I have been to. It's cruising down the hill now.
Very nice. Stroud Central, 5 point something odd miles.
Yeah.
We need Swiss steam. Yeah, we need Swiss steam that uses pantographs.
Yes, we do.
That's exciting.
And Crocs as well, of course.
What you wear on your feet is your choice.
Oh. Oh, no.
Oh, that took him a minute. Why would I wear trains? I don't get it.
It's because it's Crocs. It's been a long time since I can remember wearing one. Oh dear.
Is that the literal kettle? Yes, indeed, Danny, yeah. It was always one of the amusing examples I used to give when we first talked about internally many moons ago on TSW, talked about how Simigraph worked at sort of like on TSW for how the component sort of system for building things together worked, and that was the example I used to give, that you build for electric trains, we will build systems like pantographs and so forth, and for when we get to steam trains, we'll build things like fireboxes and boilers and so forth. But then you could even link the two together and have the pantograph go to a heating element, which then creates the heat for the fire for the boiler, and you could have overhead powered steam engines. Of course, everyone would laugh and chuckle and say, "That's really fun." But of course, no one really does that, do they? Say, well, see, funny you should say that.
Yeah, it did actually happen.
It did actually happen when they ran short of coal.
Yeah. That was a Swiss idea, because that is literally the Swiss during, I think it was the First and Second World War, well, mainly the First. No, it wasn't the First. It was the Second. They couldn't get hold of any coal, hence why they started building electric locomotives.
Yeah, but they didn't want to build, a whole new fleet of locos. They just retrofit the ones they had.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It's a cool idea, and just shows clever thinking, really.
Yeah, it does.
Didn't know you could force steam down a pantograph. Well, now you do.
Yeah. I can't remember the class of the loco. We'll have to have a look at what class of the loco was because I can't remember it.
Is the new PC here then? Yes, that's what. Jamie's streaming. I'm sitting here drinking tea.
Yeah.
This is nice. This is nice. I get to do nothing except annoy everybody. Steam Electric Locos had the advantage of being able to access unelectrified lines too. Yes, because once you'd got ahead of Steam, you then became, a fireless loco essentially. So as long as you could keep going until you got back to the wires,
Yeah.
then you would you'd be good. It's like they have fireless locos for working around paper plants and things like that.
Yeah.
Because some of those actually not operational anymore, but just down the road from here at Kemsley. They've got 2 examples of fireless locos.
There you go. Look, here's a high mech.
Oh, Class 35 hype. Just something about the way a high mech looks. It's just awesome. Everybody appreciate the high mech.
So a little bit of history about the castles while we are on a castle. They were designed by Charles Collett. They were built by both Great Western and BR, so they lasted quite a long time in build production. They were between 1923 and 1950. There was 171 built altogether, and there's 8 preserved altogether.
Which the one I saw most recently was 5029, I think. Nunny.
Nunny, yeah, Nunny.
That was bubbling away at in a yard somewhere, and when I did my steam rail tour.
Nice.
I think Steam in TSW2 will be really interesting, totally.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
that.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, me too. Proper trains. Finally.
Oh, look, here you go.
We've had BR Blue, so just need Steam.
Yeah,
Is that a warship?
there was a warship.
To get out. You're grateful that BR never had red as a main livery. Can you imagine the confusion with DBBR red? Well, yeah.
Mind you, Enter the Dragon, yes, they did have red. They did have red.
Did they?
Duchesses.
Well, that was LMS's livery, wasn't it?
Yeah, it carried over to BR though.
Yeah.
And some of the as we've just passed, one of the warships, they had red as well, didn't they?
And the
well.
Westerns were in red.
Westerns were in red, yeah.
Hymeks never were, they were just blue and green.
Yeah.
Mind you, the Hymek, I think they just kept dunking it a different colour pot every now and again, because I mean there's grey ones,
Yeah.
big ones and red ones.
This is a really amazing, just look at the detail in the route, look at this.
It's fantastic, isn't it? There's really nice detail attention to the distant scenery. It just feels like a really nice route. It's always been one of my favourite of the Steam Workshop routes. Are you still making routes for Train Simulator on PC? Yes, BT. Yes, BT. No, branded stuff like that, Dean, is really difficult, really awkward, and usually really expensive, and not generally worth it. But that said, there is a Steam Workshop route of the God. I can't remember the name of it now.
What are you thinking of?
It's a 14XX and on a branch line, and someone tell me what it is. It's a really well-known train movie.
Titfield Thunderbolt.
That's the one. There is a model of that route on Steam Workshop as well.
We actually played that not long ago.
We
Or
did,
didn't
yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did. I might be confusing with the fact that I've run it myself several times on various streams.
Oh no, it was another one we played actually. Wasn't Titfield?
No, we didn't do Titfield. Right, yeah. But yeah, that one is on Steam Workshop as well, and combined with Victory Works 14XX and some of the other trains in various packs, you could do a half decent job of recreating the train as well.
Yeah.
And the author of the route actually included some extra tracks and things so that you could actually fake out some of the scenes from the movie quite cleverly. So yeah, it's
I think you could actually go through the town, couldn't you? That was one thing they actually made a.
Yeah, he did some really clever stuff with that.
Make sure we actually stop.
Westerns and warships are painted maroon, not red. It's all the same colour to me. It's not pink, therefore it's, not basically grey. I suppose Steamer had AWS, or let's say PZB, how would it
that was a good time.
brake? Then it would just drop the brake. The same, it would be linked to the brake valve, and it would cause the brakes. That's what they actually do. So BR86, for example, has PZB. It's a German steam engine with PZB, well, inducing rather than PZB, but it's essentially the same idea. And then you've got modern steam engines which have got AWS, as long as you don't disable it. Then
I didn't disable. I don't remember how to turn it on this actually.
I wasn't talking about you, but it's
Right.
so yeah, and they work exactly the same way. They'll vent the brakes, destroy the vacuum so that the brakes come on the train.
Right, let's go over to the next scenario, shall we?
Thing to remember is that all it takes to apply the brakes on any train is a hole somewhere in the brake pipe. That's all it takes. Applying the brakes on the train is just normalising the pressure, whether they're air brakes or vacuum brakes. A hole, and that's all. So that's all these systems need to do is just create a hole.
Yeah. Oh, just to let you know, that was a not silent scenario. That is 1962 Swindon Junction local passenger to Stroud. Have I got that right?
Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud. And the route is Swindon Stroud 1950s V1.2, and that is done by Philip. So we are now moving on to our next scenario, which is by
I had a request from ScotSim to do something Scottish, so maybe make a note. And next week, let's do something Scottish. ScotSim? What's your favourite Scottish route in Train Sim? And let's try and do it. In fact, there is a. Let me just look it up. There's a cracking Scottish route on Steam Workshop. Absolutely brilliant. Let me just look it up, and maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
I like to show some of the Steam Workshop stuff, the routes as well as just the scenarios, so that because there's just such amazing and the routes. Yeah, suburban Glasgow northwest. I think is the route I'm thinking of. Scotsim.
Here we go. Conductor UP Extra 71 East. Our set out is completed, and we're recoupled and clear to proceed eastbound, operating via the north track, subject to signal indications. So let's get the headlight on. Brakes released. And we are in gas turbine. Look at that.
Oh, this is from the new turbine pack from DTM, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because that's a veranda. Which I think was the third type of the turbines, if I remember rightly. GTLs. Western Lines of Scotland, Big Dog. That's another good shout. But no, I do like that. So the route, if you want to make a note, is the suburban Glasgow northwest. If you find that and find something fun to run on it, that's a fascinating route, that one. Bit of a network, you think, goes all over the place.
Suburban Glasgow northwest. That's right.
Let's try and do a bit of that next time. Yes.
Look at this.
I think the author of the workshop route is publishing it via Rivet or Just Trains or so. I don't know exactly what the The Suburban Glasgow route on Workshop is now the Glasgow Northwestern DLC that released a few weeks ago. Yeah, that's that. I think that JT or Rivet put out. Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but all I know is that it's on. There is or was a version on Workshop, and it was very, very good.
Look at that.
Is that an F7 coming in?
Yep.
Looks like a ABA or an ABBA. ABBA. No, ABA.
Look at that. That's a pretty good shot.
Yep. There you go, and we've got the request for the other half of next week's stream, which is bitten at Canadian mountain passes.
Yep.
There you go, next week's stream is sorted.
I thought we had something else though planned for next week, did we as well?
Did we?
Yeah.
I can't remember. One of these days we'll do this anyway. We've got it on the list to do.
Yeah. What was the other one, sorry?
Canadian mountain passes. Is it possible to drive the train from station to station without that progress bar at the bottom of the screen? Yes, Jamie, press F4. You can turn all the HUD off. You can have it to a mini HUD with the F3 key. You know, there's all sorts of options. It's up to you.
That's probably
How
the
much
key.
or how little you want.
That was probably what I was looking for, actually.
Your boiler pressure is decreasing rapidly. Brakes need to come into running, and you need to make sure your coal is at the coal levels, the right ideal fire mass. Not too much. Too much is as bad as not enough. And you need to make sure when you're driving you're pulling the cutoff back as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you believe it was taken off Workshop? Oh, okay. In which case, we'll find something else Scottish to run. That
Yeah.
isn't on there.
I think there's someone who's done some fictional heritage railways or something, I think, on there.
Yeah.
Scottish
Or you can just
ones.
run some Edinburgh Glasgow or something like that.
Yeah.
I quite like Edinburgh Glasgow.
It's quite powerful, I must admit, this GTL.
Nick K, is it possible to play it without you and Jamie in the little windows? No, that's illegal. We have to always be there on your screen at all times, and if you try and minimize us or cover us up, then everything gets minimized automatically, pulling us back to the top again. It's like if you unplug the speakers, they'll replug themselves back in again.
Cargain has asked how this locomotive works. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Do you know how they exactly work, Matt?
So turbines were really interesting because the America and the world to some extent was going through a phase where diesel fuel was bloomin' expensive and hard to come by,
Yeah.
and so or getting that way, and so everyone around the world, all the railways. I mean, the UK we've had gas turbines that
Yeah, they did.
like
Yeah.
a really odd-looking steam loco, and they were trying to find other ways of using alternative fuel sources, and the gas turbine series of locomotives was the attempt at doing that. So this uses like a raw, unprocessed, nasty fuel that really nothing normally would use, because it's just unpleasant and uncontrollable. These things take time to build up, and so they wanted to you can't just, it's uncontrollable compared to a normal locomotive, and it's closer to an aircraft engine really, and so it has to spool up, and so they tried several attempts at trying to make these things, and initial results, they come out with some pretty decent, powerful locomotives with it, but they're quite finicky. Like I said, they're pretty coarse in terms of their control. And then what happened is at a certain point, all the price of fuel flipped around again, and these things became ridiculously expensive to run.
Yeah.
So they kind of lost favour. But if you just Google for gas turbine locomotive, you can see some of the some examples of it. But they're good for long distance high speed runs. Gas turbines are not good. Any gas turbine is not good at like commuter stop, start stop.
Yeah.
You want to get these things up to speed and keep them there, and then just keep them rolling, and that's when they're most efficient and most useful.
That's why they're probably better in America than they would be here, purely because they've got to travel thousands and thousands of miles, you know,
Yeah.
for freight and etc.
Yeah, it does fit the American stuff approach or needs better. But yeah, they were quite impressive locos. I think there's one left in preservation, if I remember rightly, at the Illinois Railway Museum.
All right. I know our gas turbines in the UK don't exist anymore, do they? Actually, now passing another gas turbine. Look. There you go. Look at that. It's a good old passing shot.
Nice. You notice that it seems odd potentially, but these things have got tenders, hence the tank behind them.
Yeah.
For the extra fuel, because they'd go through quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
Mark Tanner, glad you're enjoying the games. You like the gas turbine and the 5XP, very good. And 5X, yeah, the Jubilee, yeah.
So look at the caboose view. Oh wow, look at this. Caboose now.
So yeah, the third generation G-Tails were 8,500 horsepower locomotives. And so this is a Veranda, so it's a second gen, which means it's 4,500 horsepower. But you got to think this is 4,500 horsepower in a single locomotive in 1952.
Yeah.
Which is quite a lot of power for that sort of time.
Just having a look around the caboose there.
Does the turbine power an electric motive? In a G-Tel, a gas turbine electric locomotive, yes. That you are basically using the turbine to generate electricity. Good evening, Nasty Holland. Do you also work as a train driver in real life? No, although Jamie will tell us all about all the trains he's driven in real life.
Quite a few.
Does the way these simulator trains work look like the real deal too? That is the theory. Jamie can comment on his own experiences by comparison.
Yeah, I think I would say so. Yeah, there's quite a few. When you do the Bossman Games Black 5, that feels the same. So no, I'd agree. Yeah, no, they are very similar.
Is this different model from the one that came with Sherman Hill? Yes, because the one that came with Sherman Hill, I believe, was a first gen. Was the original one. Whereas this is a second gen Veranda. What are wheels on it? No idea what loco and route it is. Tell it would be fabulous in GSW2. Yes, indeed, Mikosh. This is the Wasatch grade, which is in the general vicinity of Sherman Hill. We're on the same line as the Sherman Hill. We're just, 200 or 300 miles away from Sherman Hill, to the westish, southish.
Love all the vintage cars on the road as well. Look at this though.
Yes. So if you practice well in the game, could you drive away on a train? I mean, you would. To be honest, if you could get inside a train the chances are, if you're going to be able to get it away, then you could do that without even practicing in the game, because you're missing a lot of what you need in real life to drive it properly. Obviously, you should never be doing that. Trains are dangerous machines.
Yeah.
Incredibly dangerous machines. But I think that a simulator goes okay as far as a simulator on your home PC can, in terms of replicating the experience. But there's a lot that you miss in terms of the detail controls. Sometimes a lot of the systems are simplified because it would A, take a lot longer to implement them, and B, it would just confuse everybody, because real drivers have big manuals and spend a lot of time learning these things. Video game players and even home simulator players, most people, not everybody clearly, don't want to spend weeks learning to make their DLC move.
No.
Is this close to Cane Creek Railroad coming in TSW2? Cane Creek is Utah, and we're at least heading for Wyoming, if not in Wyoming. So it kind of. Ish.
Chris has asked me, have I ever created my own workshop scenarios? Actually, yes, I did. I remember when Workshop first came out, I did make one or two. When Workshop first sort of came about, but I only made like 2 or 3. Never really 100% pleased with them, but yeah, I did.
Karen, plus some licenses require you to do simpler systems. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, for some of the same sorts of reasons that we just discussed. It's just to make it to where you can't just rock up to a train and know in detail. And part of that is because TSW simulates much more detail. It can be disconcerting for the railway companies, because they realise that just how accurate the simulation is, and then that gives them some pause for concern. But we try and work with them and assuage those, resolve those concerns, and so far everyone's happy as far as I'm aware. Harry's trains. I was on the Bakerloo line for DSW2, and at one of the stations the board said the next train was 25 minutes away in each direction, which is not realistic. Why is that? It really bugs me. It's because Bakerloo line has a simplified timetable at the moment, Harry's trains. In order to get a more busy timetable, of which we have got a busier timetable, but it doesn't work. So there is some additional work going on, or scheduled to go on, to add some features to the authoring tools and the dispatcher, so that we can make the busier timetable work. So keep an eye out on the roadmap. When things start coming to fruition, you'll see entries appear on the roadmap for that. But I think there's a high level improve the Bakerloo timetable task. But as and when more stuff happens, then there'll be more detail on there. And Sam and Adam will be talking about them on the Tuesday streams. Cane Creek is the other end of Utah, 270 miles away from us. There you go. Which, in the terms of the US, is basically next door.
Oh, look, what we're going to pass.
Is this a GTEL? It is the Veranda GTEL, Embraer Aviation 2nd Gen GTEL.
Look at that.
Ooh. 8 or 6? 8, big boy.
Yep. Just the length of the trains is amazing, isn't it?
There's a lot of freight hauling around. Kelt, will you get a new train for the French pack to accompany the TGV in future? As we'll have to wait until those kinds of things get announced and added to the roadmap. The roadmap is where you find the announcements of those things, that and of streams where they do announcements. This is not one of those streams.
No, it wasn't a terrier, Moggy. It was a bit big for a terrier.
It wasn't a terrier. No, it ate a terrier. Chief Engineer, you love these gas turbines. Any chance we'll see them in TSW eventually? Who knows? Again, watch out for things like that appearing in the roadmap as upcoming. That will be your first strong clue that they are on their way. But until you do, they'll be a bit more tricky to implement, being they're a completely different generation type. So it'll be fun. Are those telegraph wires next to the lines? You see them a lot in American freight routes, for communicating down the line if break down. No.
No, signalling, aren't they? Signalling wires, basically. Aren't they?
Yeah, I think there's signalling wires. There's I think it's also, in order to lay the railroad, you've got to prep the ground, for the track to go on it, for the trains to go on it. Well, if you've got to get telecoms over a long distance, why not just use the same corridor?
Yeah.
Which is why you tend to find telegraph wires and so forth following railway lines, because you've already cut the corridor. Just use the corridor for more stuff.
Yeah.
Have you driven the Black 5 DLC on the Fort William Malay line? Probably. I can't remember actually.
Oh no. I was trying to open the window. This is really cool with this. Look, watch. We actually have a little handle. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
And then if you go on this, so you got this little door here. The door does open. If you don't want the door open, you just go and open the window. And then open that window. And then open that window. There you go, look at that. Have I just done... Oh. There was 3. Look at that. I've opened all those windows. There's 4 windows open there. Look at that. Look. That's pretty good.
Is there any chance after these Wednesday streams links can be posted on the forums? Jamie, that sounds like a good idea if you can make that happen.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Drop some links up on the forums and
yes. Yeah.
Tell people what we've been playing.
I'm adding lots of notes.
You've seen the gas turbine in 5-inch gauge. Well, funny you should say that, Mark, but the gas turbine sounds from... because, of course, gas turbine trains don't exist anymore, not operational.
Right.
And the gas turbine in Train Simulator 2016, the GTEL,
yeah.
Which looks similar to this, the sounds for it were recorded from a model of a gas turbine.
Really? Was that one? I'm trying. I think I can remember seeing the model of it. I can't remember the.
I don't remember which model, but they found someone who had a model of a gas turbine, and they went over there to visit them and recorded the sounds from the model of a gas turbine.
Wow. DW trains, yes. I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, hoping it's going to be great.
Yeah, I read the article on that. 4 years or something it was been in the making. So.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Looking a bit washed out. Yeah, my camera for some reason is. You know, when you use the camera normally, everything is fine, but then as soon as you fire it up onto a live stream, it goes, brightness. I've turned its light off. It's got a big ring light around the outside, and I've turned all that off, and it's made absolutely no difference to it.
It's just like, I've had enough.
Pump car action. I think that's a good idea. We need to do a pump car challenge.
Yes, we need to. Yeah, get everybody in TS.
Pump car challenge.
Yes. Although,
really, it would have been so much more fun were it the original pump car setup, because I did the setup for the pump car in TS1.
Yeah.
And my version of the pump car, they had to tone it down because apparently they were concerned it would genuinely destroy people's keyboards. But you know what? At the end of what I did when we were doing the pump car, I set up a test route with there was one of the bits of the test route was just a simple go up a hill.
Yeah.
Which was actually really, really hard with my version of the thing, actually getting it up there, and it would time you from when you passed a point at the bottom of the hill to when you got to the top, so you could actually compare your stuff. And there was another one where it was a going down a steep hill,
Yeah.
and you had to work out whether you would press the G key to change the switch or not. Otherwise, if you got it wrong, you smashed into buffers. So you kind of like all these things. I was like, oh, it's really good fun. But the pump car got neutered and put out on its own. And you know what? It is more accessible. Mine was possibly a bit silly, but I had so much fun and really, really painful arms after I tried to use it.
I must admit, I can remember when it first came out, and I can remember everybody was just like, "Oh my god, we got the pump car!" And we were just there with the A and D key going.
What did I used to make in TS1 days? Not a lot. I mean, I'm not a 3D artist, so I've never done any 3D stuff. I say I've never done. In MSTS days, I've made some 3D models that look horrifyingly shocking now. But in TS1 days, I've mostly I've been looking at. In fact, in TS1, it was mostly like I did all the signals for New York, New Haven, for example, and all of the
now.
cab. Sorry,
We've got the split now. Yeah, look at that.
Oh yes. So I did, yes, control the setup and the cab signalling and so forth for New York, New Haven. But most of what I did back then was I was the head of third party, so I was trying to help other people get their stuff. So I worked on projects like Western Lines of Scotland and West Coast Main Line over Shap. Very nice. It's a lovely shot, that.
Yeah.
What route were you most proud of for TSW2 as a senior dev? Oh, it's really difficult to pick Speedbird. They're all really good for different reasons. And the team have all, for each route, the team have stepped up to solve new, different problems. There's been no route. This was just, you know, we'd done everything before, and it was just plop it down, and it was all good. The team of, it doesn't matter whether we try to do that or not. There's always something crawls out the woodwork and says, "You've never done this before, though." Oh no.
It's just like, oh, here we go again. Right.
Very nice. So it's not sure. I've not really used the Wasatch that much, and yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, HS1 is my home route as well, Woody. My local station being Gillingham, where I normally get on the train. Back in the days when, you know, it was done that you would go out and use trains.
Yep. Oh dear.
How complex was it to get level crossings working in TSW, Sophie? I'm the wrong person to ask that because I didn't make them work. But I know that the engineer who was working on it spent quite a lot of time with the system, and by the time he's finished, he's got it down to now to it's actually quite straightforward to get them all placed and set up now. So yes, thanks to his hard work, it's quite easy for the team to place them now as needed. The pump car is Daley Thompson's Decathlon on rails. Basically, Chris, it's hypersports in trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, the artwork is awesome. The art team always, you know, knock it out the park, Sophie. I love the animations they've done for it. It just, with it wobbling around and so forth, it's absolutely spot on. It really is good. Standing at Gillingham Crossing is just very reminiscent of the real thing. Will they eventually go back and replace the sandpatch grade crossings? Well, if you were around yesterday, Everett, Sam and Adam answered that in that they are going to level crossings is going to be one of the things like PIS that gets on the list where you know, as and when they can, then, you know, I think there's an aspiration to doing that, but obviously until you see something on a roadmap, don't assume it's underway. It means if it's not on the roadmap, it's not being done on. How many services will the Cast 395 have? Hold that thought, Duck. We'll do a preview stream for it soon, and we'll answer that question. We heard your feedback, everyone's feedback about the traffic levels, and it's being worked on. You thought I was in a dressing gown? No, I'm in a jumper. I'm cold. I'm in the garage, and it's cold in here now. It's just recently passed a level that it's cold down here now, so I've got a big thick jumper on.
It's quite an interesting route because oh look at this, look, here we go, we get another run past now. What we got here? Oh look at this.
Ooh, nice. Oh, bit of F7 action, ABBA. Call this train the Dancing Queen.
What do you call it, the Dancing Queen?
Someone tell me on the chat. Why is it called the Dancing Queen? Who makes the song Dancing Queen?
Oh, I've now got it. Yeah.
Does it run on water? Does it run to Waterloo exactly? Okay.
Got a heavy train as well.
That's an interesting question someone said about Wolfgang. Most level crossings are silent in TSW. No ding ding ding, at least on the Xbox. Do you know why? Because most level crossings, once the gates are down, they stop ringing.
Yeah.
Because the gates don't animate in TSW, except for the new route, then in the ding ding dings have stopped because they're already down. So that's why they're not set up with sounds. Because there's a couple of examples, like the one in West Somerset Railway, just outside Minehead Station. That one does keep ringing.
Yeah.
But most, certainly in the UK, most crossings don't ring the bells once the alarms are down, because the locals would be well, upset, quite rightly. Sleeping Gamer, you have a high-end PC and you can't get more than 30 FPS even on low settings. Then something's wrong, because Jamie's getting 60 FPS in some of his, and my machine does, and my machine isn't high-end. Not anymore. It's about 5 years old now.
I know someone did ask for my graphic, or my settings, my new PC, so I'll go through it again. So the new potato, which is definitely baked and roasted, is a Lenovo Vantage Legion T5 28IM-B05. It's got an Intel Core i7 10700 CPU. It's got a GeForce RTX 2070 Super, and also let me just find the other bit what I needed to find. Got an SSD and a can't remember the other one. I've got two storages, and yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Oh, 16 gig of RAM. That's the other one everyone asked for. 16 gig of RAM.
There you go. Someone says safety over sound on the level crossings, but the gates are down, so you don't need the alarm anymore. Obviously, if it's no barrier crossing, then the alarms keep going. But for a barrier crossing, once the barriers are down, if you wish to drive through a barrier, you'll be feeling pain before you get anywhere near the trains.
16 gig, Andy.
Now Matt has the potato. Well, no, mine's an i7 4.6 gigahertz. So it's old, but it's fast. And it's a 2080 Super. Have I ever been recognised on the street before? Well, by friends that know me from the local area, but sometimes at like model railway events, or at when I visited one time I visited the Bluebell Railway, and someone walked up to me and said, "Are you Matt Pedalston?" That takes a bit of getting used to when people just do that. I mean, I like it.
I've got to get used to this. I've got to get used to this now, haven't I?
It's but yeah, it's good fun. See you later, Laserjet.
See you tomorrow, Dayjet.
Not unless you're wearing your headset. These days, to be fair, I think everyone would be like, even if I said, no, I'm Matt Pedalston, here's my ID. They're like, no, it's not got pink headphones on, you're lying.
Yeah, got a green signal, we're alright.
No, Chris. No. That's just wrong.
What did he put? Where is it?
Matt, I love helping folks with PCs. They must like my unbiased opinions. That's wrong.
Have the caboose on that. It's lovely.
I do like a caboose on a train.
Yeah.
It feels like it's the proper end of a train.
Yeah.
It's like brake vans in the UK. The minute your trains don't have brake vans anymore, it just makes me feel uncomfortable.
Guess what? For the GTL. Oh, this is the different one. Look at that.
That's the... Yeah, that's a different one from the pack. That's probably a 3. That's probably a big blow. Gen 3.
That's a good shot. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Did you guys ever do concept trains for TSW? They don't really go down that well, the Kelt. I mean, TS1, there was a couple of concept trains done. So the train that everybody now knows as the Class 800, like the Azumas and so forth, we did what was originally known as the IET, the Intercity Express train, which was the concept train for what became the 800. I mean, that one first appeared based on the original Hitachi designs in Train Sim 2012. And was then updated with the latest designs, which are almost exactly what the 800 ended up looking like. In 2015, I think it got updated.
Yeah.
Or 2016, something like that. So it have been done in there, but generally people don't want fictional. They don't want that. What they want is is what they can drive, what they know, what they remember. So generally, real is generally what people want. We don't need brake vans anymore. No, we don't, because trains are all fully fitted now.
Yeah.
And you put an end of train flashing device on the back, which does the job of a brake van. So you know where you got the end of the train because you've got a flashing light on the back. And if any of the train separates, it'll automatically all apply its brakes. So that's kind of the purpose, which means that your second man, your conductor, they can be in the cab. Or in the rear loco looking back over the train, just to sort of keep an eye on what the train's doing. So we won't see the loco from Back to the Future 3. Probably not, strangely. Probably not. Which I think would be a crying shame, because then we could get a DeLorean in the game with rail wheels.
Oh. God. Wouldn't that just be cool? It
would be cool.
Yeah.
Although all anyone would want to do is fly it off a bridge.
You just see videos like straight off the bridge. Yeah.
See the support tickets now. I drove my DeLorean off a bridge. I didn't end up back in 1850.
Oh dear.
Cool scenario idea though.
Yeah. Flying trains, isn't that Sam's speciality? Hey!
This is true. Sam does specialise in the flying trains.
Oh dear.
Are we having a live stream for Southeastern High Speed before it releases on the consoles, and on which day would that be? John McGlade, there is going to be at least one, if not two more, Southeastern High Speed preview streams, as far as I'm aware, and that'll be before it comes out. I don't recall what the actual dates are. Keep an eye out for the schedules for the weekly Ralph and TV streams, and you can make sure you come along when we're doing a preview.
Yeah. It's amazing how far apart they are now. Look at that. Just the up and down lines.
Will you be cracking open a beer once Southeastern High Speed is fully released? No, I don't drink. But
no, it goes for two of us.
No. So, but I will be bringing the sigh of relief and probably playing some Southeastern High Speed. Lovely.
It's just so nice driving this. You can just leave it there and It just does everything. It's brilliant. MLS HST, yes, I am old enough. Yes, I am. This is where the chat then guesses how old I actually am.
Shellbox, am I going to stream on my own channel at some point? Hopefully, yes. That's like the intention is to get back to streaming regularly on my own channel. I miss it dearly, but I need to prioritise at the moment. Everyone's just spouting random numbers now for your age. We've had 23, 57, and 7. 27,
45? God, cheeky devils.
21, 23.
Well,
15 and a half, 90, 26, 27, 69. See what you did there. 3.14, 34, 15, 71. None of you have a clue, really, do you?
no. So, LMP Derek is correct, as well as Mersey Rail. But I will be 24th on the 11th of Feb.
Oh, wow!
So I'm not far off 24 now.
What's the 11th of Feb in days?
Not long.
Let's have a look on the old calendar. The 11th of Feb is a Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get some bumps ready for him on a stream, shall we?
Mersey Rail, yes! Well done, Mersey Rail. Well done. Got another F7 now.
I love the F7s. They're just absolutely gorgeous. Derek just turned 23 in November.
Ah! Morgie says I can't even remember being 24.
Birthday stream.
Yes! Oh dear. Box, yes, that's correct. Box 215, yes. Yeah. Well, Gronk, he's an 08 shunter.
Good evening, Ian. Ronnie Dodge, you will find out more about the 465 at the appropriate time. We'll be keen to show it off and give you more information, answer your questions for it once we get onto that one.
There you go. It's
I
amazing.
think you'll like it. Put it that way.
This is the really cool bit. So now we've separated. We're going the other side now. Look at that.
Nice. Yeah, there's sort of an Art Deco feel to them, isn't there, Wolfgang? It feels very period from the sort of the way that the railways looked at the time.
Oh, we do have someone's birthday tomorrow. Matt Chaffee is 21 tomorrow.
Well, happy birthday
Birthday
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
See you later, Arsenal fan.
And yeah, see you later.
DDs. Oh yeah, the DDs are good. In fact, DTM did a pack with the DD40s, if I remember rightly. I also did the DD38, is it? The other one? That also came with the GD30. It came with the GP30s as well, if I remember rightly. So you could make up some really interesting packs or consists, because the DD30 I think also came with the driverless one, the slug version.
Ah.
B unit.
Yeah, it's the one with no cab, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can imagine. Can you imagine an ABBA of DD30s? It's
ABB.
enormous.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be huge.
Intercity B09 Badger. Oh, I love the Badger. I've always been a big fan of the 89. It's very, very good. Couple of miles now to Wasatch
Yep.
Depot. Yes, agreed, Bartez, Chris. Definitely need some more scenarios for the Badger.
Yeah.
At least you've got a West Coast main line to run it on.
Yeah. Funny, Joshua. Funny.
Jamie is only 24, isn't it? Past his bedtime. Very good, thank you, Backlund.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
The Merseyrail, do you guys ever play with Armstrong Powers trains or just your own content? So we're demonstrating what you get when you buy the stuff from Steam, essentially, you know, without the extra add-ons. Extra add-ons are really good, there's some great stuff there. But if we had all the add-ons on and so forth, then effectively, if someone asks you the question, "Oh, that's great. How do I do that?" And you start rattling off all the things they need to go and buy and so forth. It just puts people off. What we want to do is show you this is what the game is. This is what we make, and that's what you need to get going. And then once you've got going, then you will naturally step up and see what other things there are that you can do as well.
Yeah. We've cut our cars to pick up at Washat, bring the head end to a stop at Washat Depot eastbound, and I'll check in with the station agent.
You thought the Badger was neat? I think it went a bit all over Baked Bean because it was a prototype. Let me
Yeah,
just
'cause
double check.
I remember hearing that it was originally built to go for the West Coast, and then it moved over to the East Coast because it changed between, didn't it? They checked it on both things, didn't they? On both sides.
So it was originally built by Brell in Crewe, and it ran test trains on West Coast and East Coast main lines.
Yeah, I thought it had. Yeah.
But a lot of I think the 89 gave rise to some of the innovations, you know, seen later on in other trains. Like I think the 91, I think uses the traction motors or something from 89. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of it, like the APT. You know, the APT and the 89 are good examples of they were prototype and. Wikipedia disagrees, Nico Diva, but it might be wrong. Designer brush traction, builder Brell. So yes, we're both right. So yeah, they moved railway tech forward, even if they didn't come with it effectively. But at least the 89 001 is as APT Tech went into 91, that was it. At least the lone 89 does still survive. In fact, I think they're in the process
Challenger.
of fixing its traction motors, aren't they?
Yes.
Ooh, Challenger.
We're down here, look. There you go.
It's nice. Will there be a Train Simulator 2021? There is, that's what we're playing.
That is what we're playing.
Question on the pending routes to the roadmap coming soon. Will these include routes being worked on by third parties? They think they're in the list. So Cane Creek.
Any there, look.
I was wondering, where lead scroll destinations appear at platforms. Can the same technique be applied on inside lead on trains to give Prince visual announcements? In theory, David, it's sort of another thing to for the team to explore. And the same tech could potentially power the vocal announcements as well. So there's a lot. You're trying to build the system out layer by layer. The U-50, oh yeah, the U-boats were good, Chief, the engineer. Feather River Canyon is lovely, isn't it, Flying Scotsman? A line I've wanted to see in the game for quite some time is Mullen Pass. I really like that line, but it's on a different operator. It's MRL, I think, that run on that line, which makes life more difficult. But I've seen some videos of it, and it looks like a beautiful railway. Maybe even Nebula, indeed. Maybe even Nebula. So many things to do.
A Rosa Speedbird for TSW2. It's a Rosa.
Will there be Train Simulator 2022? Nothing's been announced. Breakism. Keep an eye on the usual announcement places, and if there is an announcement at some point, that's where it'll be. Are you guys British? Well, I am. How about you?
I am.
There you go.
I'm a Norfolk boy.
I'm a Suffolk boy.
We've got a Norfolk and a Suffolk. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm in Kent these days. I'm being a military brat. I don't really have an accident. Accident? Plenty of them. But accent.
Oh dear. Look at that for a monster though. Well done. While we wait for the conductor to head into the depot, sit back and relax. Scenario complete. Wow. There we go. How was that? There we go. So, that's it.
Very good.
So that's our first experience of streaming on the new Monster, or the new potato, baked, roast, whatever you want to call it.
It seems to have gone alright. I think we're on for a winner here.
I think we are.
You can do all the streams from now on. Excellent.
Oh yeah. I think that's what it's probably me and Natalie and I, right, we're streaming now. Oh dear.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Jamie, for the drive. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope everybody else has.
Yep. Yeah, I certainly have. It's good. Apart from the little bit in the gist in the start, but we're there, and it's lovely.
It's always going to be a bit. I'll try and sort out my microphone. What is with me tonight? I'll sort my camera so that it looks a little bit less rubbishy for the next stream.
Yeah, fantastic.
What we got coming up this week, Jamie?
So we have got a stream tomorrow, which is I will be driving again with Natalie, and we will be on the heart of Berlin.
Nice.
So, yeah, got that to look forward to, which is going to be good. I do love the heart of Berlin. It's good. It does look really good.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, come back tomorrow and enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, take care, and we'll see you on the next stream. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah. Bye. See you all.